大家好，欢迎大家收看华人工商商业论坛。安娜律师事务所的一位客户因为一项指控被捕，在监狱里关了将近1个星期，然后在没有任何指控的情况下被释放了。之后呢，他就开始了维权。这个案子让他开始思考，如果被捕的话，警察到底可以拘留他多久呢？遇到被警察逮捕的时候，应该做哪些事情呢？今天，安娜律师事务所的创始律师安娜 安娜戴密奇将为大家详细的分析这个问题。安娜律师主要专精刑法和移民法，拥有纽约、加州、宾夕法尼亚、华盛顿州、威斯康星州的律师资格证。安娜律师楼的律师们精通英语、普通话、西班牙语和俄语，曾经在多个州代理被联邦起诉或者是调查的客户，能为被指控最严重罪名的被告人提供辩护哈。安娜律师你好 ，Hello Anna, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for a beautiful introduction.
Thank you, Anna. 如果有人因为某项指控被捕的话，警察可以一直无限期的拘留他吗
Absolutely not. The police cannot keep someone in the custody indefinitely, regardless of what charges the police is arresting the person on. Now, the time while a person can be kept in custody varies state to state, but nowhere does it exceed 72 hours. In some places, it's 48 hours. A lot of times, what I see happening here in California is police would arrest someone and the police would have some tentative charges on their paperwork. And then later on at the arraignment, the prosecution would issue formal charges. So this can be a little bit different from the start of the case or later on. But the specific case that I wanted to discuss today involved a person who ended up being kept in jail with no charges brought against her, essentially. So what happened is our client, someone who came to us for a consultation, had an altercation. She was arrested and taken to jail as a result of that altercation. She was kept in jail for almost a week. After that, she was simply let go. No charges have ever been brought against her. Well, the law on this case is that if no charges are being brought, no formal charges are being filed, the person cannot be kept in jail more than 72 hours. And this clearly has been exceeded. This really goes against a very fundamental concept of not just American law, but pretty much all European and English-based English type of law, British type of law. The concept is kept habeas corpus, essentially meaning that a person cannot be detained without charges for a long time, right? If a person is put in detention, the government has an obligation to either let them go quickly or bring formal accusations. And this is the bedrock of criminal law in the United States and in several other countries. Clearly, this has been violated in this specific client's case. Now, the sad thing is this person who came to us for a consultation did not know her rights. So she did not go back and start seeking remedy for this prolonged detention right away. And unfortunately, again, there is a pretty short time limit on how long you have to bring a lawsuit, to bring a case after this sort of thing happens. Right. In this specific case, we were dealing with 90 days. So that means something happens, you are released, you have 90 days to bring formal case to tell the government, hey, I'm going to sue you because you guys wronged me. If you fail with that notice, and there were no exigent circumstances, such as person, I don't know, being in a coma or some really major things happening that would prevent the person from going after and pursuing the case. Without this kind of exigent circumstances, after 90 days expired, this is it. You cannot get your compensation, you cannot get remedy, you're left with no recourse. So it's really something for a lot of people to keep in mind when dealing with any kind of government entities of any level, like federal government, the police, municipal government, anything of that sort. You always need to keep in mind that there are very, very short deadlines when you are even allowed to bring the case.
这个案子给我们广大的华人朋友什么样的提醒呢 ，Anna？
The thing to learn is remember that you may have rights you might not necessarily know about. So seek legal help, seek competent counsel, and try to do it sooner rather than later, right? Because there are some procedural deadlines that may later prevent you from getting remedies. Seek competent attorneys. Best of all, like I already mentioned in the previous episode, try to get an attorney before you even get arrested. Try to get an attorney before you speak with the police. Usually the police would let you make a phone call to an attorney if you ask them. So take that chance. And before even speaking to the police, if somebody calls police on you, call the lawyers, have them on standby, have them advise you right away. And best of all, that way you would avoid even being arrested. Worst case scenario, if you do get arrested, at least there is someone following up on your case, someone reaching out to your family, someone making sure that you are out of custody in due time and your rights are not being violated.
Thank you, Anna. 如果遇到被警察逮捕并且受到不公平的对待的时候呢，那我们到底应该怎么做呢 ，Anna？
Well, a lot of that is case specific again. You have to look at what kind of proof you have and at what stage you've been treated badly, because that would affect where exactly you go for recourse. But sometimes it is filing the complaints against specific police officers. So I always recommend taking a note of who you're dealing with, right? Remember the time, remember the date. If you can remember the name of the police officer, that would be wonderful. Now in California, there is a very good practice that I personally really like, is that most police officers would have body cams, and those body cams would mostly be working throughout the process of dealing with the situation, detention, and all of that. So it's really fairly easy to establish what transpired. And if the body cam is off, then that is looked as something that's against the government, right? Why was it off? It was not supposed to be off when you were with the detainee. But a lot of places outside of California do not have this practice, so it's often hard to even establish that something went wrong. But the really important thing is not to wait too long. Find a way to get a lawyer, get a public defender, get whoever you can find to make a record to protect your interests.
好，非常感谢安娜律师。Thank you, Anna, for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.
好，今天非常感谢安娜律师事务所的安娜律师给大家介绍啊，如果被捕了，警察到底可以拘留多久这个话题哈。好，也感谢大家的收看，我们下期节目再见。
Bye-bye.